Hey, thank you so much for watching, listening. Of course, I want you to subscribe. Oh my goodness, why wouldn't you subscribe? We have great content, great jokes, wink, wink, great guests, interviews. So seriously, subscribe, pass this on to your friends. It's going to be really, really amazing series that we're starting today. But before we get into the series, I have an amazing joke for you. What kind of lights did Noah use on the ark? He used floodlights. You're like, oh my gosh, I know. So we start really at a very low place, like the trough, and then we work our way up to some kind of peak wonderful experience with God helping us along the way. So we're starting a series called Facing Giants. I think it's really interesting to think about giants. I remember I was in South Sudan some years ago, and there's a group of people there, a tribe called the Dinka tribe. And for all practical purposes, they're considered the tallest people in general on the whole planet right now. Tall. There's a lady that I met there. When I stood next to her, my shoulders came up to her hips. Right? You're like, ugh. So I was looking up, and I'm not short. I'm 5'8".
I'm not short, am I?
And she was looking down, just kind of grinned like, yeah, this is not my first rodeo. But that was kind of my modern experience with giants, so to speak. But, I think all of us have giants in our life. Giants can be a boatload of things. I think when I was little, giants. A giant for me was some of my friends who I thought were amazing and incredible, but I was also very intimidated by them. Sometimes I have faced giants in the sense of fear. I remember growing up, I had some struggles with fear, and it was a giant for me to try and face that giant. Sometimes where we have failures, that becomes like a giant because we don't, it's like overwhelming and overpowering to us, way beyond our abilities, strong and all. So when you think about giants, and I'm bringing those ideas to your mind so you can consider what are the giants that you face? And you can put that in the comments. Answer that question right now. What are the giants that you face? What is one giant? And it could be a variety of things. It could be in your finances. It could be at school. Some people are intimidated at school. What are things that are so big to you that you just can't seem to overcome them? It's just like intimidating, just overpowering. Those are giants. And I want to encourage you that God wants us to face the giants. And I bring to your attention in Numbers 13, verse 33. It's interesting to consider that when Moses and the Israelites were wandering in the wilderness, towards the end of that season of wandering, what they thought would be the end of it, Moses sent 12 spies into the promised land and told them, spy out the land, bring us a report. Of the 12 spies, 10 came back and told Moses, there are giants. The land is amazing. It's fruitful, prosperous, flowing with milk and honey, all this cool stuff. However, there are giants in the land, and we looked like grasshoppers. We felt like grasshoppers and looked like grasshoppers in their eyes. And so giants, and for this scenario, Numbers 13:33, these are actual physical giants. And you can see the reaction of the 10 spies. Oh my goodness, we feel, and the problem on this is, it's not just the size of the giants, but the spies saw themselves. They said the giants see us like grasshoppers, and we feel the same way. We see ourselves the same way, grasshoppers. And that's the problem in part with giants. You have some big issues, big difficulties, big struggles, things that are in front of you that just, whew. But the real main issue isn't necessarily the size, but I would propose how you see yourself. Because if you see yourself as a grasshopper, well, you're already waiting to be squished.
Get the squish, just like grape.
Right? Crushed. Because you're just small, tiny, micro in your eyes. And so I want you to be careful about things that are big, seemingly insurmountable. Because by comparison, if you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I just can't, I'm so, all that stuff, then you're defeated before you ever even face the giant, because of your internal mindset perspective. And maybe it would be helpful for you to remember that greater is he who's in you than he who's in the world. If Jesus lives in your heart, in your soul, and in your life, then we have to kind of recalibrate that outlook, that mindset. Remove the grasshopper and replace with Jesus. Like, seriously, that's not just something to kind of laugh at, but it's a very good principle to integrate. Remove the giant, replace with Jesus. So thank you for subscribing. Hit the notification bell right there. And I already gave you your question. What's a giant in your life? We'll continue this series next week as we face our giants.